Hello my dear students, welcome to today's class on renal system physiology. Our urinary system with kidneys, ureters, bladder and urethra works like a natural filter, removing waste and keeping our body balanced. The amazing nephron does most of the work, while the juxtaglomerular apparatus helps control blood pressure. We will explore how these parts keep us healthy drop by drop. So let's dive in together and enjoy the learning. The kidneys are basically two reddish bean-shaped organs found just above the waist on either side of the spinal cord. They lie behind the abdominal lining, so they are called the retroperitoneal organs. Each kidney is partly protected by the 11th and 12th ribs. Each kidney is about the size of a bar of soap, that is 10 to 12 centimeter long. A notch on the inner side called the renal hilum is where the ureter, blood vessels and nerves enter or leave. Three protective layers cover each kidneys: renal capsule, that is the inner tough layer; adipose capsule, that is fatty middle layer; and renal fascia, that is outer layer that holds the kidney in proper place or position. The outer part of the kidney is the renal cortex and the inner part is the renal medulla. The medulla has cone-shaped areas called renal pyramids. The tip of papillae point inward and spaces between them are called as renal columns. Each renal lobe includes one pyramid and the surrounding cortex. The cortex and medulla together form the parenchyma, which contains about 1 million nephrons, the units that filter our blood. Filtered fluid or filtrate flows into the minor calyces, then major calyces, becomes urine and finally drains into the renal pelvis, ureter, and ultimately it moves into urinary bladder. The inner cavity called the renal sinus holds the pelvis, calyces, vessels and fat for protection. The kidneys get a rich blood supply because they filter waste and help control blood volume and composition. Although they make up less than 0.5% of body weight, they receive about 20 to 25% of the resting cardiac output, or around 1200 ml of blood per minute. Blood flows. Renal artery enters the kidney and branches into segmental arteries. Then segmental arteries give rise to interlobar arteries in renal column. At the pyramid bases, they become arcuate arteries. Arcuate arteries give interlobular arteries which supply the renal cortex. Each nephron gets blood from an afferent arteriole which forms a capillary ball called the glomerulus. Blood exits the glomerulus through an efferent arteriole which forms peritubular capillaries around the cortical tubules of nephron, then vasa recta around the medullary loops. Blood then flows through venules, interlobar veins, arcuate veins, interlobar veins, firstly interlobular veins, then arcuate veins, then interlobar veins, and finally exits through the renal vein to the inferior vena cava. Nerve supply to the kidney. Renal nerves come from the renal plexus and follow the renal arteries. These sympathetic nerves control blood flow in the kidneys by adjusting arterial diameter, that is vasoconstriction or vasodilation. Each kidney has about 1 million nephrons. The nephron, the basic functional and structural unit of each of the kidney, is made up of two main parts, the renal corpuscle and the renal tubule. The renal corpuscle, located in the renal cortex, consists of a glomerulus, a network of tiny blood capillaries, and the Bowman's capsule, a cup-shaped structure that surrounds the glomerulus, where blood filtration begins. The filtered fluid then enters the renal tubule, which has three parts: the proximal convoluted tubule, PCT, near the capsule; the loop of Henle that dips into the medulla while with descending and ascending limbs; and the distal convoluted tubule located further from the capsule. Both proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule are in the cortex, while the loop of Henle extends into the medulla. The distal convoluted tubules of several nephrons empty into a collecting duct which unites to form papillary ducts that drain urine into minor calyces. Nephrons are of two types: cortical nephrons, approximately about 80 to 85%, located mostly in the outer cortex with short loops of Henle and receiving blood from peritubular capillaries, and juxtamedullary nephrons, approximately 15 to 20%, located near the medulla with long loops of Henle that help from dilute or concentrated urine and are supplied by both peritubular capillaries and vasa recta. Now we'll study the juxtaglomerular apparatus. We should know how kidneys help control the blood pressure. The juxtaglomerular apparatus is in the diagram you are observing, that's a special structure where the distal convoluted tubule DCT touches the afferent arterioles of the same nephron. It helps control blood pressure and the filtration rates in the kidneys. Main parts: juxtaglomerular apparatus or JGA consists of three main parts, that is macula densa, which senses sodium levels in the fluid. If sodium is low, it signals for the help. Juxtaglomerular or JG cells found in the wall of the afferent arteriole, they sense blood pressure and release renin if it drops. Mesangial cells support the structure and help with cell communication. We should know the main function of the juxtaglomerular apparatus. It regulates how blood gets filtered, that is glomerular filtration rate or GFR. It controls blood pressure through the Renin-Angiotensin system, and it maintains fluid and salt balance in our body. Thank you so much for joining today's session on the renal system. We explored how the nephron filters blood and how the juxtaglomerular apparatus play a key role in regulating blood pressure and kidney function. If you found this helpful, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more biology made simple and clear. Stay curious, stay consistent, and I will see you in the next class. Bye.